Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. True Individual 90 here we are back for another edition of Money Match, where we play arcade games to see how much money it takes to defeat them. And today, we went to the sewers of New York City and played one of my all-time favorites, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time was released in March 1991 for the arcade, and a home port for the SNES was released the following year. Turtles in Time was successful with rave reviews and also became Konami's best-selling arcade title. When it comes to side-scrolling brawlers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time is often ranked as one of the best ever, alongside Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Genesis. Which one do I think is better? Personally, I love them both equally. I have a slight bias towards Sega, but I think Turtles in Time holds its own and has aged beautifully. The plot is simple. The Turtles are watching the news, and Krang kidnaps the Statue of Liberty, and the Turtles must go through a time warp to stop Shredder. Let's take the fight to the foot and see how many quarters it takes to beat TMNT 4, Turtles in Time. As the very first level, we run through it with relative ease as Baxter Stockman gets absolutely owned. Stage 2 is where we finally start losing some quarters as the enemies start piling on as we lose to Metalhead. I accidentally added 2 quarters as opposed to 1. We beat Metalhead and we go sewer surfing. This level wasn't too hard for me, but dealing with leaping xenomorphs isn't much fun when you play solo, as you're not going to get them all. We get sent to the Stone Age, and Cement Man isn't too much trouble at all, but the thing is, with every boss in this game, you hit them one too many times, they'll just swat you away. Another consistency in this game is that the enemies, if you are playing alone, will just swarm you and definitely go out of their way to make sure you lose a life before getting to a pizza, which is a few inches away. So, in order to prevent redundancy, I won't repeat myself. We are riding on a pirate ship, and a pirate's life is indeed a life for me, as we face Toka and Razor at the end of the level, and they aren't too hard. Their hit stun animation has very slow recovery, and my strategy was to keep them on the same plane and attack them simultaneously. The plan does work for the most part, but one will occasionally switch to the other side of the screen just to be annoying. I had to put an extra quarter in for this fight to survive, but we move on to the next stage, and we're going off the rails on a crazy train.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, I admit it, that was a bad joke, but I'm an Ozzy Osbourne fan. Sue me. Anyway, we get to Leatherhead, and this fight is not fun. Almost every other hit, he would punch me with a knife and send me away. I lose a few lives here, however I survive, and we move on to Neon Knight Riders. Neon Knight Riders is a fun level when you have 4 people playing with you, but by yourself, it's an auto-scrolling nightmare. Enemies surround you, and in this level, like sewer surfing, is grounds for you to pour your quarters in. We finally get the Super Krang, and as slow as he is, that running boot absolutely sucks. We survive, and we go to Starbase, and Starbase is a long level racked with enemies and death traps. Everything is being thrown at you, and playing Starbase solo will make you lose a roll of quarters. I lose $2 on this alone. We get to Krang again, and man is he squirrely. Trying to tail him down on top of the Mousers makes this fight more annoying than it needs to be. However, with the power of putting more money into the machine, we win and we get to the final boss, Super Shredder. Super Shredder is very slow and his attacks are very avoidable. However, the most annoying attack is a sword swipe just to swat you away. However, he's not too hard as I only lose 75 cents to him. He falls, and the day is saved, and it's time to tally up how much money we spent. I added up how many quarters it takes to defeat TMNT Turtles in Time, and since each game costs 25 cents, we spent a grand total of $6.25, which is $14.88 in today's money, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. $6.25 is a lot of money, but it's relatively cheaper compared to other side-scrolling brawlers at that time. However, I played this game on my own, as opposed to having 3 other people playing with me, as it's meant to be played. If the multiplayer variable was in effect, the amount would probably change. Games like this make their money on more than one person playing at once. I think the difficulty playing this game is about a 6 out of 10, You're outnumbered and you play solo, and this game is meant to be played with others. In conclusion, Turtles in Time means a ton to me. I grew up playing not just the arcade version, but the home port as well. In fact, here's a picture of my childhood copy of the SNES port. Yes, you can see the label from the store that my brother brought it from. And that autograph right there, that was from Judith Hogue, who played April O'Neil in the original 1990 movie. I had the pleasure of meeting her in 2021. Hogue was a total sweetheart who took the time to talk to us for about 30 minutes and made us feel like old friends who haven't seen each other in ages. Thank you, Judith, for making my birthday weekend so awesome. Thanks for making not just my weekend awesome, but in the 3 times we met. I hope we see each other again, and I hope I see you all again as we cover another arcade game classic. Thanks for watching, you guys. And also, thanks again, Judith. And, oh yeah, drop a like, comment, and subscribe.